You're listening to the Night Demon Network. Go to nightdemon.net/subscriber to unlock more exclusive content.
Hello and welcome to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. I'm your host Nesbit, and today we finish off our dive into Night Demon's 2020 single and track number 4 on the Year of the Demon compilation album. This is Vysteria Part 2. So last week we got into the demos and the evolution of the song, which started on one of Armand's riff tapes and was developed by the band into the final version that we know today. So with music written in January and February of 2020, it was months later when the pandemic lockdown started that the band came up with the lyrical themes that are on the final track.
You know, we were in the process of finalizing up all of these singles, but we were still kind of writing songs. So musically, the music had been around for a while, and we had planned this to be basically one of the last singles that we were recording. I think we were a little behind the game and kind of rushing to get it out. Well, you know, we have deadlines, and, this band is no stranger to deadlines, that's for sure. But I think deadlines are good. It's healthy to have them, and it gives you it gives you a deadline, right? It keeps your productivity high, and you really crunch to get things out there. So we had known our deadline well ahead of time, so we were working on this stuff. But I didn't really have too much of a lyrical idea for the song. This is definitely the thrashiest song that Night Demon's ever done, and I kind of didn't want to take on a traditional thrash vocal or lyrical approach, although I ended up kind of doing that in the end, with this being somewhat of a politically charged song, even though it's not really. I think with the cover art and with the lyrics, it straddles the line of the themes that maybe a thrash metal band, in the direction that they kind of would go in. So really I was writing the lyrics right when the pandemic hit, and that's when it kind of came to me, and I brought it to the guys and said, hey, because we were, much like everybody else, we were talking amongst ourselves the entire time that this was happening.
I think, at that point in time, it was like one of the first lockdowns, and we didn't really think that this was going to be happening. So the music was pretty much already being worked on and everything. And then we decided to write it about the pandemic in our own way. I believe the main music was already recorded by the time we started doing the lyrics. I think they were. And then we wrote the lyrics and Jarvis sang it. I think it was pretty quick once we really got the ball rolling.
Yeah, like I said, the timeline, the theme of this is just, it was just during that time we were writing this, and it was really affecting us because things kept getting canceled, so it was really hard for us, and it really bummed us out and almost, I guess, kind of angered us a bit. And maybe we put a little bit of that anger into the theme of this song, lyrically.
We had a couple of our friends come in. John C. was a part of the gang vocals that we all did, and, kind of a little collaborative ex Night Demon member coming in and helping us out.
The lyrics. First verse. Nobody is safe. The virus has no prejudice. The black or white, the rich among the poor. Infected. Watch the numbers rise. Protected from nothing.
Nobody is safe. The virus has no prejudice. No black or white, the rich among the poor. Infected. Watch the numbers rise. Protected from nothing.
I think this is all pretty self-explanatory. I don't really need to go into too much explanation here. Obviously, by the first lines of this verse, you can see that we are not COVID deniers and never have been, although a lot of people got that opinion from this, even though the lyrics are on the screen of the video. Again, they've already formed their own opinions, and if we talk against this in any way, then we're COVID deniers and we're QAnon and all this stuff. I don't even know what QAnon is, by the way. I don't. I've never gone down that rabbit hole. I have no clue. The first chorus, destroy the fear inside. It's only then you realize it's a war in disguise. Vysteria.
Destroy the fear inside. It's only then you realize it's a war in disguise. Vysteria.
Yes, don't be afraid. The media wants to make you afraid. They make money off of your fear. You ever watch the news and they're like, we're going to tell you how to save your life coming up in 15 minutes. Just watch these ads so we can make money. They tell you stuff like this all the time. They have to keep the news cycle going. It's their job to instill fear. Fear fucking pays, but it destroys you as a human being. Second verse. Society is closed. Come again another day. Isolate. Cancel your life. Pandemic. Stay away from me. Epidemic of your mind.
Society is closed. Come again another day. Isolate. Cancel your life. Pandemic. Stay away from me. Epidemic of your mind.
So, yes, we got locked down. Society is closed. Not just, it's a public health crisis, but, it was that. I think the language that we use is very important. We can say almost the same thing, but using different words to have a positive or negative effect. I could say that I'm anti-war, but I'm not really anti-anything. Anti is a very negative thing, when in reality, I'm pro-peace. Do you hear how those two things sound completely different from each other? They send a different kind of vibe when they're delivered, but they really mean the same thing. No war, right? If you think that the people that control the media and the governments don't know this, well, think again. They know this stuff. But that doesn't sell, that doesn't control anybody. Empowering the people gives these organizations a total loss of control. We need to find ways to empower ourselves and not worry about these people and worry about ourselves, our friends, our family, and our neighbors. That's what's most important. And that's how healthy life grows and thrives. The line cancel your life, the cancel culture thing has really come into play. And I think a couple years ago, it really became part of the norm. So now that's it. Cancel your life, you know? Again, with the line society's closed, it was social distancing was the language that was coined, that was used by the powers that be. Social distancing, not physical distancing, which is really what should have been said. Not physical distancing, but social distancing. So that's the word that we kept hearing over and over and over and over and over again in our heads. Socially distancing yourself is near death. We need to socialize as a society. We need relationships with people. So although physical distance is what the idea was, using the term social distancing is, in fact, what actually happened with a lot of people. And it's horrible. It's horrible. We should be bonding together in moments like this. And with the technology that we have, there's plenty of opportunity to physically distance yourself and still be social. So I'm very against that. That's what that line means. Epidemic of your mind. Yeah, that's what the garbage on television is. Second chorus, destroy the fear inside. It's only then you realize we're dehumanized. Vysteria.
Destroy the fear inside. It's only then you realize we're dehumanized. Vysteria.
That's how I felt. I felt we were dehumanized in a lot of ways by the things that I just mentioned, so I don't need to go into that again. Now, the line here at the bridge is somewhat tongue-in-cheek. Is it the end of the world, or is this the thinning of the herd?
Is it the end of the world or the thinning of the herd?
So it's kind of like, what is this? Some form of natural selection? Is the world ending? We're all in this big panic. Was this virus created in a lab? Is this biological warfare? Was this created to be the end of the world? Is this the ultimate act of terror? Was this created for population control? I don't know. It's just a question. It's not an assumption. It's a question. Last chorus, destroy the fear inside. It's only then you realize your freedom dies by Vysteria.
Destroy the fear inside. It's only then you realize your freedom dies by Vysteria.
These days, anytime I use the word freedom, I feel like people almost look at me like I'm some redneck white supremacist. Like the word freedom has become bastardized, especially here in North America, as something that a Confederate would say, or it's that's not the case. Freedom is in my mind a basic human right, and it's something that a lot of people have fought and died for unnecessarily. I mean, I'm not discrediting those people. If not for them, we wouldn't be where we were at with our freedoms. But I think war it never should be the answer. Human casualty should never be the answer. Unfortunately, that's what we've had to go through. And we just don't want to see that have to repeat. It's unnecessary. And maybe I should use the word liberty, but freedom is, until you have it taken away, you don't really know how much you should appreciate it. And it's better to say something now about it than when it's too late, because much like we saw during 9/11 with the Patriot Act, when that came in and the whole thing the TSA does at the airport, I'm at the airport, seems like every fucking week. These people do not keep us safer. They have not stopped any terrorist attacks since they started 20 plus years ago now. They're just there to fuck with us, and we're paying for it. We're paying their salaries. So, once you give those freedoms away, don't expect the government to just give them back to you once this pandemic is over. It's not how it works. When people put things into law, into legislation, when society gives their freedoms away, even if they think it's temporary, they're not just handed back to them. History has proven that, and history has a way of repeating itself. So, I'm not some crazy conspiracy theorist, wacko, QAnon, or whatever the fuck that is. It's not about that. It's about basic human rights, bodily autonomy, and then freedom of choice over your own body and your own mind. And I feel that has been threatened. It's not about public health. It's not about that. There's a much deeper issue here. And I think if the world would have approached this in a much better, more loving way, there wouldn't be any arguments about people getting vaccinations and stuff like this. It was them being threatened to be forced to take this stuff in their body that is going to make people rebel. And so I wish the powers that be were at least smarter about that. But it was an epic fail, and I just hope that we come out as better people out of this thing.
This is really the first time that we ever kind of, I don't want to say went out on a limb to talk about what was going on, but we kind of did. It's a part of history, and it's a part of where we were at that time, and everything was at a standstill, and we just wanted to write a song about it. Yeah, that's really what it boils down to. We all sat down and really wrote these lyrics together and told the story. Jarvis had a couple ideas lyrically, and he's like, I need you guys to give me a hand on this, and we all sat down in the studio and wrote the song. So it's really cool because it's one of those first songs that we all collaborated lyrically on. So it was neat to all put our stamp on it and to all agree on what it is and what we're saying.
Hey guys, Nesbitt here. If you'd like to support Night Demon and this podcast, the best way to do it is to become a Night Demon subscriber. Not only will you be doing your part to support a true heavy metal band out there really living it, you'll also gain access to a ton of extras. Bonus audio content, a subscriber-only merch store with rare items from the band's archives. You can stream never-before-heard demos and unearth live concerts from the live vaults. Communicate with the other Night Demon diehards on an exclusive subscriber forum, and gain early access to all press releases, album pre-orders, new merchandise, and a ton more. And another thing that I think is pretty cool is Night Demon will be donating 10% of every subscription fee to the Metal Cares Foundation, which is a charitable fund the band started in 2014 to aid those in our metal community. So head over to nightdemon.net/subscriber and join us as we make heavy metal history together as one. And on a side note, I'll personally think you're a grade A badass.
I think the drumming on this one is very, very Lars Ulrich, very Metallica-y, but I would think that you could tell it's my playing, but it's a lot of the beats that, I learned from Lars over the years playing all the Metallica songs. Except for the bridge. Once we get into the bridge and you start kind of hearing those snare rolls, it's a little bit more intricate than anything that Lars would do. it is pretty neat. You know, it's a little progressive once we get towards like the accents. You know, I'm keeping the time with the kick drum with the single quarter notes, and I'm doing all these accents to kind of follow the guitars, which is cool. You know, kind of wanted this like Iron Maiden-y kind of like snare roll thing, but then, you know, build it up and play the accents with the guys and kind of like play a little above them. It's like it's in time, but it's not. It's kind of interesting, but I think it really sets it up. And then once we go into that last chorus, and then the part that Roger kind of had the idea for at the end of the song, you know, is when I really kind of go into 3 different drum beats that all alternate, and then at the end of the song it just goes into that double bass, and those are the 30-second note double bass notes.
Vysteria! Vysteria!
We've played double bass in the band, but that's probably the fastest. And, you know, it's not something that I'm always up on when it comes to having my chops, I guess. So I'm glad that it's only like 6 seconds or something. If that. It might only be like 4 seconds. I don't know. But it's just enough for me to be able to have the endurance and stamina to be able to pull it off, especially at the end of that song, because it takes a lot of energy to play that song start to finish. But it's definitely a tough one. You know, I like some of the fills that are in there. Definitely one that is difficult to play from start to finish, but one that I really enjoy rocking out on for sure.
As far as the guitar parts go, yeah, man, like just a lot of right hand James Hetfield type picking on this one. Took a lot of inspiration from, I would say the song Disposable Heroes was kind of like my inspiration for these riffs, at least the verse riffs and stuff like that. You know, the little shredding solos, just they're real quick, you know, 4-bar or whatever it is, you know, 10 seconds of solos. So just trying to just like fucking thrash it up, you know. Inspired, you know, a little fucking Mustaine in there, a little Hammett, and just trying to make a quick impact, but keep the energy and the shred and the schwank, keeping the schwank in. You know, you got to shroup it, fucking shroup the solo, man. That's about it. Just kind of like keeping everything tight and rhythmic, you know, but letting Dusty just kind of go through it and keep a good steady beat.
The bass playing in the song is pretty straightforward. Me and Armand are totally locked in for the majority of the song. We're basically playing the same thing. It's hard to play on bass, man, let me tell you. Like, those rhythmic patterns, especially with singing. That's probably why we haven't played the song live yet.
We hadn't played this one live yet because it's challenging, man. Especially for Jarvis singing it and playing those riffs with me. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I could ever pull that off or without a lot of practice. And there's something about practicing in the studio and practicing and just playing live. That's a little different from. I don't know. For me, I can sit down with my guitar and play through something 20 times and think that I'm warmed up, but as soon as I hit the stage, it's like, fuck, I'm cramped up, but we're working on it.
We're hoping to debut it actually at our record release show for Year of the Demon, which is happening this week. But if you're listening to this, it's probably already passed. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Look, I mean, it is a song that is intended to be played live, but I'll be honest, I just need some more fucking practice with it. And I just want to nail it.
We're going to debut it here at the beer release show, so you can definitely know that it's going to be in the tour set coming up here. So we're going to just fucking break through it. We're going to kick ass and come out with that fucking song and just rip everybody's fucking heads off right off the bat. We're thinking it might be the opener of the set. So there's that little tidbit.
It's one of those songs that I wish I would have written the vocals as I was playing. I laid the track down and came up with the vocal line after and go, wow, trying to do these two things at the same time is extremely, extremely challenging. But we're going to nail it. We'll get there.
The two shows that we played last year, we weren't ready to play this song live. For us to play it all the way through perfectly is pretty difficult. On top of the fact that Jarvis has to sing and play that bass line, it's got to be brutal. I would love to play it, but it's got to be right. We wouldn't do anything that we weren't ready for just for the sake of doing it. I'll be ready to rip it, so we'll see what happens.
So with this track, Night Demon looked to two different producers to come up with two separate mixes. One for the vinyl and one for the digital release of Vysteria.
So as far as the mixes go of this song, we had Randy Burns, who I think he worked on early Megadeth stuff like Peace Sells or something like that. It's just one of those names that was on the bucket list. We're going, again, we're still following the trend or the thing where we're trying to use different producers and different mixers and all that. Originally, we wanted to record this song with Kurt Ballou, who was from the band Converge, super like heavy, post-punk sort of, one of the main bands from that whole scene, who also got into the studio game years ago and is really known for just really intense, in-your-face recordings and mixes. So we thought, oh man, this is a perfect song for him. But unfortunately, our schedules could never really get together. This is when COVID started fucking coming into the play, till middle of 2020 or beginning of 2020, I guess, so, that kind of got pushed aside. So eventually, I think a window popped up for him to do a mix. So we decided we recorded everything here. So this Vysteria was recorded completely here at the captain's quarters. And we sent it off to Kurt to do the mix. And I just love what he did with it. It's really fat and thick sounding. That's something I'm always looking for, in my productions and my mixes and what I do. So it was really cool that he knocked it out of the park like that. I can only imagine what we could do together one day if we actually got out to record. He's got a really, really cool studio in Salem, Massachusetts, which, Salem is, notorious for the witch trials and all that, and just has a really kind of cool occult reputation. So I think it would be really cool vibe over there. We might do it someday.
Kurt Ballou from Salem, Massachusetts. He's got a great studio. He's the guitar player from the hardcore band Converge, and his name had been kicking around for a long time. His mixes are very brutal. His sounds are really, really great. He's one of my favorite modern engineers and mixers, And he did some albums from a band called Nails, and our friend Todd Jones is the frontman and songwriter for that band. And I believe I got Kurt's information from him, but ended up just emailing him. Really what we wanted to do was go and make a record with Kurt, but he's so busy with other stuff. And, he prioritizes a lot of stuff that he likes and bands that he knows. And he's in such high demand that he has the ability and the power to do that. But nonetheless, I just, I was relentless about wanting to work with him in some capacity. And when the idea to mix this song came up, he said that he was available for a certain day to mix this and had asked if I would be on standby for this. So basically we sent him the tracks, and he does all of his mixing analog, so he can't save anything in there. So we ended up with 5 different versions, but it's all done in one day. So basically he would send over version 1 and we'd be like, the guitars are a little too hot or the vocals are a little too high. Then version 2, and we would go back and forth like this over email over the course of a few hours. So that's how that came about. And so Kurt's mix is what you hear on Year of the Demon. It's what you hear on the digital single when that came out in July of 2020. Randy Burns, his mix is only on the 7-inch. So you basically have to have the 7-inch to hear the Randy Burns mix, unless you're a subscriber, which we will put that up for you to stream in the subscriber section.
It's a war in disguise! Vysteria! Society is closed! Come again!
When talking about the cover art, I approached our friend Ross Sewage from the band Ghoul. He's a great artist, and when all this stuff was going down, none of us really knew what was happening, but we kind of saw the writing on the wall a little bit. And since this was a kind of thrashy song, we just wanted that kind of Ed Repka style cover art.
Ross Sewage, cover art artist. So we met Ross when we toured with Ghoul, Crowbar, and Carcass back in 2016 or 2016, I think. It was a great tour. We had a lot of fun with those guys. We got really close with the Ghoul band members, and we've ended up, Ross has put us up in his apartment in Oakland many times, and he's a great artist and has a really cool style, and we thought that it would fit this song, and what he came up with was really cool. It's a little different, definitely a different kind of style from anything we've done before, but that's good. It's what we need, keep the variety going, keep things fresh.
Ross has done so many great things for Ghoul, and he designs, hot sauces, and he's all over the place. He's really creative, and he's really unique with his style. And because this song is a little bit different from us, we wanted the artwork to be a little different.
So I just said, look, we kind of want some not conspiracy theory elements per se, but like, what is the worst case scenario behind this, and what may be some actual realities behind this. So I kind of had an idea where I told him, like, some military presence and some politicians doing some backdoor dealing, stuff like this. And so he concepted that cover, and you have soldiers there with gas masks and assault rifles. You have politicians in suits with stacks of cash, and his idea was having the doctor pulling the flesh off of his face, and then Rocky with the chalice, just pouring out this toxic green virus, so demonizing the world, if you will. I thought it was great. I mean, I thought all of those elements got put into that, and especially with our love for horror and stuff like this, it all just came together, and I was really impressed. I was amused by it when I saw it. I thought, this is great, and little did I know how offensive it would be to some people. But then again, what's not offensive these days? Everybody's offended by something. So, we don't play that game. We do what we do. Our intentions are good, and that's just the way it rolls.
So this killer cover art makes for an amazing looking 7-inch, but unfortunately, this vinyl release didn't go as smooth as the previous singles, at least for some people.
The case of the missing 7-inch vinyl. This is something that I'm sure a lot of people want to know about. So, the vinyl was pressed on 2 different color variants, as most of the other 7-inches were. And we were dealing with a company at the time that handled our merchandise called Kings Road. They were doing it in Europe and also out in the States. So what happened was everybody in Europe got theirs just fine. And when the green vinyl got shipped to the U.S., it just never showed up. Customers started complaining to us, so we hit up the merch company, and they're like, look, man, we never got these records. So I did some investigating, and FedEx had said that, yes, they were delivered and they were signed for by this person. The merch company said, well, there's nobody here that by that name. No. So the whole thing was just a big fucking mystery. I got the record company involved. There was a lot of back and forth. Everybody just kind of threw their hands in the air at the end of the day. All the customers were refunded, which is the most important thing. But the vinyl was still missing. So I would say about a month later, a fan messaged us and said, hey, somebody's selling these on eBay. And so we went and found the Vysteria green vinyl in Southern California for sale. And it said that there were 75 available. And they were going for $75 a piece, which I thought was fucking crazy. So, I had a friend who worked at eBay. And so I was, he had advised me to file a claim, basically like a fraudulent claim that these are stolen items and that their legal department may be able to do something about it. But beforehand, I had just thought, let me contact this seller directly and just say, hey, we know that you stole those records and they belong to us, so just return them. Maybe we'll give you some money. I don't know if I said that, but he basically tried to sell them back to us, and the price he wanted was just completely fucking ridiculous. If there's going to be a repress of these, I don't know. I highly doubt it, but who knows? Maybe we'll have to take it in our own hands to do that. For now, we're glad that Year of the Demon is out and all these songs are in one collection. It's a very unfortunate thing. But again, I'm glad everybody got their money back. We'll see what happens with this.
So if you didn't manage to get one of these 7-inches, there's a few left. There's 4 green and 11 lilac 7-inch singles in the subscriber store right now on nightdemon.net. So check that out if you didn't manage to get one. So for the singles leading up to this one, Night Demon had released lyric videos to promote the song and get the lyrics out there. But for Vysteria, the band filmed themselves performing the song live and released a combination live performance lyric video.
As far as the video goes, it was cool to do a live performance / lyric video. We had already had a couple of those things released, and we thought it would be really cool to kind of blend them together, and do a little half and half thing.
Yeah, I guess we just, we wanted the words to be on the screen and just make it that much more impactful. And I think it was. I think people think that that's kind of a cool thing where you're watching the performance, but you're also getting the lyrics at the same time.
So that was really cool. I think it came out really, really good. And it was also good for us to kind of show people, give people, we hadn't made a music video in a while that actually showed the band, so, just show them what we're looking like these days, and how we riff and how we kick ass. And it was all shot here at the studio, the captain's quarters. Cleared the room out, brought some fog machines in, some green lighting, and we really wanted to make the fog a lot more like green. It's like kind of like the gas, like the pandemic, like the virus fucking coming out of our amps and shit or from behind us. But was a little harder to do than we had expected. So, we didn't want to, and then we didn't want to go and do CGI and that kind of stuff because that shit never looks good, unless you have a huge budget, which we never really have. So we DIY it and do what we can do. So there was a couple guys that we brought out from LA that had worked on. They're the guys that filmed everything, all the behind the scenes stuff for the singles that were released, the behind the song videos. So, and they were willing to come up, it was right in the heat of the fucking lockdowns and all that stuff. And they were cool enough to take a chance and come out here and, spend a day filming this thing. And we did it all in one day. I mean, it was a long, 12-hour day or something like that. And I remember I was really, really tired at the end of that, man, because, really intense song. And, when you shoot a video with live performance thing, it's like each guy has to fucking play the song like 5 or 6 times. They gotta, okay, now we're going to do this angle. Now we're going to do this angle. So we're going to film your hands. So we're going to film, your fucking head banging. And you just got to like give it your all every time, because you want it to look super intense. So yeah, it's a lot of work making those kind of videos, man. Especially for Dusty, I don't know how many times he had to play the song, the drums, and, it's a banger, man. So, but I'll tell you what, I definitely knew how to play that song really good after that.
But the video turned out really good. I'm really happy with it. And, look, this is probably the last song that we'll ever do that's going to approach this kind of stuff. The real world's a scary place. I think that's why we like to sing about more fantastical things in our mind.
In case you're curious, the band actually made 4 different live video edits for this video. So this is without the lyric overlays. It's just the 3 guys rocking out playing Vysteria. That's another bonus for this week in the subscriber section on nightdemon.net. We have 4 different live performances or edits of the performance video. But overall, the cover art, the lyric video, the critic and fan reaction to this track was almost universally positive.
When we released the track, there really wasn't any backlash from our fans. I saw a couple things online. Definitely YouTube has a lot of silly, ridiculous comments. There were some things in the media that I've tried to locate recently when I was asked this question, but have since been taken down, and I wonder why that is. But there were some reaction videos that, here's what I saw. Half the people thought it was a anti-vax song, which, by the way, when this came out, the vaccine was not around. It was totally not in the picture yet. The half the people thought that. The other half of the people thought it was, the anti-vax crowd and COVID deniers. It was one side. So let me clarify that. It was half the people thought it was that we were COVID deniers and anti-vaxxers of that nature. And the other half of the people thought that we were just going crazy over the coronavirus and thought it was like the worst thing that has happened to the world and it's deadly and we're screwed. And, those were COVID deniers that were thinking that about us. It was just so fucking crazy. It's like, did anybody, we purposely put the definition of the song before the video, and then we put the lyrics on the screen. So it's like you've got plenty of time, plenty of opportunity here to understand on a first listen or a first watch what we're saying here. And it's just, it's the world we're living in. And when you put yourself out there in the public space and on a platform that we have, you just have to expect this kind of stuff to happen. And you know what? It is what it is. But I'm glad that we have this podcast that, we can kind of clear the air and, really explain what it's about for those who may not have understood.
Yeah, we didn't really get, as far as the release goes and backlash, I mean, there was a couple of comments here and there about it, but for the most part, everybody was fucking just more excited about, Night Demon doing a thrashy fucking ripping song. And ultimately, that's what stands up, You know, the lyrical content, it'll last, you know, it'll age, because it's not just about the pandemic. It's about every time there's something that happens, how the media just jumps on it and pushes the fear. It's like, why the fuck do I need, why do I, when I look at the weather on my fucking phone, on the weather app, why does it have to tell me how many fucking COVID cases are in, you know, my county, or how many COVID deaths there are in, you know what I mean? What the fuck does that have to do with the weather? If I want to know that, I'll look that up. But, you know, it's just like force feeding it into the people's psyche, you know? So it's very psychological. It's psychological warfare. That's a thing that's been around for a long time. They wage war on us through television and media and psychological ways. Very clever.
Yeah, I think this song will age past the pandemic. Like I kind of was saying earlier, it's a song that's going to live on past all of this, you know, and if COVID becomes like the flu, it is what it is. But when we hear this song and when other people hear it, it's going to take you back to a time where this was new. The pandemic was something that we had never dealt with in our lifetime, and we never thought that the touring machine that Night Demon is would be curbed for years and not be out touring. So it definitely changed our lives. And I think, you know, there were some silver linings to the pandemic. There were some silver linings to all this, as much as there was negatives. But you got to deal with what you can control and, you know, move in the direction that you feel is right for you at that point in time. And I think we did everything right. You know, we started this podcast, and that was a big thing. But I think the song definitely stands on its own, even though it has so many similarities to when the pandemic and epidemic were at its peak. It's not one way or the other. I don't think it's going to get swept under the carpet and forgot about. I think it's going to be a song that people are like, damn, that's a ripper from Night Demon. And that's all we want.
Well, that's it for Vysteria. In the bonus section this week, we have a ton of content. So aside from the demos and the riff tapes from the writing of the song, we have the 4 edits of the live performance video, the storyboard from the video shoot, all the different Kurt Ballou mixes, the original sketch of the cover art and the final art, and all the packaging variants. Tons of content for this week. That's on nightdemon.net. Click on the subscribers area. Until next week, this is Nesbitt signing off.
Destroy the fear inside. It's only then you realize your freedom dies by Vysteria. Vysteria. Vysteria.
Thanks for listening to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. Head over to nightdemon.net, click on the subscriber tab, and sign up to access exclusive weekly bonus content. If you would like to donate to support the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, you can do so through PayPal at paypal.me/nightdemonmetal. Additionally, if you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, rate, and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All hail, Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. This is Dusty Squires chiming in to tell you about my brand new signature sticks from the London Drumstick Company. I've dreamt of having my very own drumsticks ever since I was a wee lad, and LDC made that a possibility for me. Founded in 2016 in London, England, the birthplace of heavy metal, the London Drumstick Company has trailblazed a path through the music industry and taken the drummer world by storm. When I met them for the first time, they knew their product was going to withstand the beatings of a Night Demon show. They took the time to work with me on getting everything just right. The balance and weight of my sticks are the same no matter what, and the durability is bar none the best I've ever had. I know my sticks will last through the set night after night. I'm truly honored to work with a company that caters to their players the way LDC does. Their innovation and attention to detail is what separates them from the rest of the stick makers out there. Their custom stick sleeves are unbelievable and really make the entire presentation complete. Wait until you see the design they came up with for me. It blew my mind and was a surprise to say the least. They have all kinds of amazing swag, including hoodies, t-shirts, drummer shorts, drum keys, stick bags, towels, face masks, practice pads, and much, much more. Even if you're not a drummer, you can be a part of Demon history and order my brand new signature sticks direct from their website. How cool is that? And to top it off, the London Drumstick Company are giving an exclusive offer to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. Go to londondrumsticks.co.uk and receive a 15% store-wide discount using promo code DEMONSTICKS. All capital letters, no spaces, Demon Sticks. DEMONSTICKS. I can't thank everyone there enough for the opportunity to be a part of their family and for them trusting me with their amazing products. See you metal maniacs on the road very soon. And yes, the wood chips will be flying.
Greetings, boils and ghouls. This is your comrade, the Crypt Keeper here, reporting dead from the sanctuary of the strange. Tonight's macabre myth is a fright-filled feature, one overflowing with monsters, madness, and magic.
Visit our website at monstersmadnessandmagic.com to stay up to date on all the dark dealings within the sanctuary of the strange. Enjoy the show.
Hey Metalheads, I'm Mark and I host Metal Forge. Let me tell you about the show. The Metal Forge features the best underground metal from all over the world. We spend every week with a different artist with interviews, in-depth conversations, and most of all, the music. We also feature audience interactivity where you can submit your questions to the upcoming guests. New episodes are out every Friday at noon Eastern Time at metalforgeradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all-ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Okay, metalheads, you've been complaining that there has not been a channel that plays all of the heavy metal videos from past, present, and future for years and years at this point. Well, that time is over. Heavy Metal Television is back. HeavyMetalTelevision.net is the website. Go there. You can see videos playing 24/7, 365, all the time, all the best from the old school, the new school, and everything in between. Check it out, HeavyMetalTelevision.net. It is where the metal is.